Hello everyone. I have something difficult to talk about. Um, uh, and that's it's someone that's been a part of our family for 10 years, and that's our loyal friend George. A huge part of this household. We've been blessed to have him with us for 10 of his years. And now, George is getting older, and a decision had to be made. And this is tough to talk about. He's always been there for us. Never let us down. What else can I say? And like I said, we had to make a decision about George. That was difficult. Anyone else who's been through this would understand. Some of you are familiar with George. Hasn't been officially introduced on the channel, but has been there in the background, usually off camera. I'm just at a loss for words. There's been a lot of changes in our lives and our family over the last 10 years, and he's always been there. Yeah. It's basically, we just can't look after George anymore. This is very difficult. It's very tough. I wish things could be different. He's been so good to us, and I feel like a traitor. But life goes on, and I think before the finality comes about, again, I'm at a loss for words, I will introduce George to you. And so, before George is gone, I will introduce him to you. And so, I'll do that now. And I'll tell a few stories about why George has meant so much to us. Yeah. So let's go meet George. Okay, everyone, I would like you to meet George. Here is George. George was our ever so reliable van for the last 10 years, family van. We took numerous vacations with this vehicle. My kids all learned to drive in it. And yes, very reliable, despite what people told me before I bought it. I had mechanics saying, don't buy these vans, they're junk, they got transmission issues, they got this, they got that. George has been awesome to us. Never been towed, never left us stranded. And George has been replaced already. There'll be another video about that vehicle. I might drop a few hints here and there in this video. So, what can I say? yeah, we needed another van 10 years ago. We'd already had 3 before this one. And let me get into it here. I gotta get the key. I haven't cleaned it out yet. So George is going up for sale. It's been sitting for 3 weeks now that I think about it. It was at least 3 weeks ago that I bought my new car. But this van has been so roomy and comfortable. Those are the summer tires back there. The winter tires are on it right now. Yeah, and you know what, being that it's sat for 3 weeks, let's just fire it up here. Let's try this. She's been sitting. Apparently I have a tire low in here. Oh, okay. Oh, you know what it is? It's my summer tires that have the tire sensors in them. And they're sitting in the back of the van, so I'll just clear that. Now I did put this Android stereo system with a backup camera in it a few years back. I wanted, you know, GPS and a better sound system, so I put that in. I actually got it super cheap on Amazon. I think it was like, even with the installation kit, it was about $300. And it's excellent. Like here, I'll put it in reverse and you'll see the camera comes up. We can back up. Yeah. What else? Now, this van has 421,000 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles. Pretty high. And as I mentioned before, old George, super reliable. Like, it was just brakes, tires, and oil that I put into this. You know, we did the starter and the alternator roughly around 300,000. I did the alternator again last year. It's on its 3rd battery. What else can I tell you? The air conditioner still works great. The heater is still really good. It's got a brand new windshield in it. And there's a story about that. Here, I'll flip this around. So, about 2 weeks before I bought my new car, which I mentioned before, and that'll be in a future video, I was driving on the highway to work, and I was following a concrete truck, a local company, pretty big company. And I was keeping my distance because he had dirt and stuff falling off and it was showering the vehicle just a little. So I stayed back, and he was merging onto the highway and accelerating, and I was behind him. And all of a sudden, and I'm not kidding about this, it was a baked potato sized rock hit my windshield right in front of my face. That was the most startling bang I've heard driving. And I saw it coming at me too. Yeah, I was freaked out. I immediately pulled out my phone, took a picture of the side of the truck so I could get the company name and the phone number, because I knew I couldn't remember it. I was pretty frazzled. And I even honked at the driver and pointed at the windshield, but I'm not sure if he could see the damage, but it was big. And I'll post a picture here of the damage. And to make a long story short, the concrete company paid for a brand new windshield for this vehicle. They didn't want to, but I got to think, a friend of mine that I work with, we were going to go for coffee. And as we were jumping in George to go to get a coffee, my phone rang, and it was the concrete company telling me that they weren't going to pay for the windshield. And he didn't know about my windshield being damaged. And we get in the vehicle while I'm on the phone with this lady, and he goes, "What the heck is that?" And he points at the windshield. Looks terrible. Looks like someone took a baseball bat to your vehicle. And I go, "I know, and this is the concrete company on the phone, and they won't pay for it." And he said, "Oh, I'd be calling the police." And I thought, and I said out loud, "Good idea. I'm going to file a police report." So I told the lady, "Sorry, I got to let you go." And I hung up. And an hour later, she called back, and she said, "Send me a couple more pictures. I'll see what I can do." And they paid for the windshield. So I gotta thank Voida for that. I owe him a lunch. So we got a brand new windshield in George. The car that I bought, again, I'll show it to you guys in another video. I looked for a full year to find that car, and I saved money for 5 years to buy this car. My kids all drive their own vehicles now. I don't need a van anymore. So it was time that I treated myself. So George has honestly, other than the pickup truck I had for 24 years before my current pickup, George has been the most reliable vehicle, trouble-free, and the most mileage I've put on a vehicle. So thanks to George. And you know what? I'm going to put it up for sale. And I mean, you can see the check engine, or the check your wallet light isn't on. It's got new tires on it. It's got an extra set of tires. This is a good vehicle. I'm just tired of driving it. Sorry, George. I've been driving minivans off and on for 20 years, and I don't need to anymore. I have a truck to haul stuff. The van is so handy, though. My daughter took it camping a year and a half ago, or a little over a year ago in the summer. Took her friends. They went to Jasper, and they loved it. And she said, "Dad, is that van ever good on gas?" Because they had another friend with a Nissan Rogue, and it was a pig on fuel. They filled that thing up twice, and this has a big tank, but still, this didn't need to be filled up. So I'm super happy with this. This is a 2006 Ford Freestar van, and every mechanic told me they're junk. And I even had a guy who I spoke to. He used to work for Ford, and he saw this vehicle in my yard, and he goes, "Well, did you get this recall done and that recall done and that?" I go, "No, I didn't. Never needed to. I never had issues." So, I mean, other than just basic tune-up stuff, I think I cleaned the mass airflow. I changed one oxygen sensor. I did the spark plugs once. I've done numerous air filters. Basic upkeep of this vehicle, and I haven't even changed the transmission fluid. I've never needed to. It just works well. A lot of highway miles, so I've always believed that highway is easier in a vehicle than city driving, and it is. So, gonna put George up for sale. George is gonna hopefully make someone else happy for a long time. I know there's easily another 100,000 kilometers in this vehicle before you'd have to do anything serious. And there's nothing to fix on it right now. So that's my story on George. I don't know what else I can say about George. I mentioned that my kids all learned to drive in it. I thought I could keep it as a spare vehicle, but in the last few weeks, we never needed it. And so I think it's just time to sell it and take the insurance off. You know, we don't need this many cars. So, yeah, and this is the first time I've fired it up. You know what? Let's take it for a little spin, and I'll set up another camera. Okay, let's take George for a spin. I guess I should put a seatbelt on. Like I said, George has always been reliable. It's got good heat. Even the heated seats still work. Yeah, and my wife and I took George on a camping trip summer of 21 for 4 days, and went down some rough roads and camped out in the middle of nowhere. It was a great trip and lots of room. We took all the seats out. Like, the back seat folds into the floor, and then these two seats come out, and we just put everything in the back, and lots of room. Yeah, I myself have put, like, this van had 120,000 on it when I bought it. It's now at 420,000. So I've put 300,000 on this van. And I know it like the back of my hand. It's kind of cool jumping in it today after not driving it for a long time. There's no crazy rattles or squeaks or anything. It's comfortable to drive. It's quiet on the highway. It's got okay power, and for a van it was good on fuel. This is a heck of a vehicle. Never had an alignment done. I've never had anything major go wrong with this thing. This truck was sitting here an hour ago. Nobody in it. Interesting. Old George. Old reliable George. 10.9 liters per 100 is what I get on this thing. And that's city and highway driving in the winter. It's capable of slightly better, but I can't complain about that. Now when we get back to the house, we'll do a walk around. There is a little bit of rust starting. Well, starting. It's been there for about 3-4 years, and I've been touching it up here and there. I didn't touch it up the last year or so because well, a year ago I was going to buy a car, but I couldn't find what I wanted. And then I spent the next year looking. So, and meanwhile, George, nothing went wrong. Just kept driving it. With winter tires, this was a very good winter vehicle. Lots of traction. Everything electrical works well. The rear parking sensors quit working a couple of years ago, and I changed one of them. Mind you, I just got one from the wrecking yard because I scanned it and it told me which one was bad. Didn't seem to fix it. But it's got a backup camera, so although I will say, in my opinion, backup sensors are kind of better than a camera because you're not necessarily looking at the camera. But it's just what I figure. Other people might think differently. I didn't even know this vehicle had traction, or I knew it had traction control. It has stability control till last winter. I was going around a corner a little fast. There's nobody around. And it started to slide, and then I felt the system engage and straighten it out. It was really weird. Okay, we'll take a walk around here. All right. That's George. Now here's the rust I was speaking of on that door. Now, this rocker I did replace. This is a plastic cover, but I replaced the whole rocker a couple years back. This corner's got a little bit of rust. There's a little bit of rust there on that wheel well. Now, these electric doors, I never ever had a problem with them. They always worked, always. And the vehicle we had before this had less mileage. We always had problems. It was one of those Pontiac Montanas. That works well. Another thing that always worked flawlessly was the electric liftgate. Never had issues with that. I'm gonna miss all the storage in here. That electric liftgate actually helped cure my tennis elbow years ago. So again, some more rust spots, but really for 400,000 kilometers driven on salty roads, not too bad. This door opens well too. I remember putting my kids in car seats in these things. There it is. That's George. Oh my yard light just powered on. So there you have it, everybody. I wanted you to meet George, and he's going to move on to greener pastures. I'm going to put him up for sale, and thanks, George. It's been a good 10 years. and I hope you give somebody another number of years. I know you've got a lot more in you, so hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned. I will do one on my new car coming up. Like I said, I've been driving it for 3 weeks. I'm really enjoying it. So take care. We'll see you next time.